Mic check 1 2 1 2. Are we on? Mic check 1 2 1 2. All right, let's get this party started. How's everyone doing? It's your homeboy XtremeTony, welcoming everyone to this Friday night live stream for XGWL Live. On this day, April 25th, 2026. XGWL Live April Anarchy. Using the Anarchist A. Kind of like that members of the Anarchists are going to be featured in tonight's episode. I have to get this party started. Start sharing the links on it. How's everyone doing? So this is our opening contest for the XGWL Men's Live title. I have some pretty good matches here for tonight's card. Couple threat matches, like a four-way. Let's see two champions with the Anarchists. As the leader, El Toro Extremo says, "Bienvenido a la Anarquía." And yes, recently I have been providing the voice for El Toro Extremo, alongside with Hector Diaz, my virtual counterpart in Trey Steele. One thing I'm trying to do, I am trying to practice voice acting so I can maybe get another side gig doing voice acting. I swear, I do it all the time when I'm singing karaoke. I try to imitate the artist that I'm trying to. When I'm out there performing and I'm singing karaoke, it's pretty interesting. You guys should check it out. Because I think the best song to portray this is when I'm singing that Linkin Park song in the end, and I'm doing both parts, both the singing and the rapping, like the singing part from Chester Bennington and the rapping part from Mike Shinoda. And yes, the transition is pretty good too. I use my regular voice for Shinoda and a slightly higher pitch for Chester Bennington. For just about every artist, I do have a distinct sound, like when I do Tupac impersonation, I'm like elongating some certain words at the end, and with Biggie, how I add some really deep bass. With a Nas, where I'm singing with my fake New York accent. Or super high pitch when I'm either Eazy or Eminem, a young Eminem. And now, as we get this one started between Blake Stone of the Anarchists and Evan O'Shea. Because you know what would be interesting? If Evan O'Shea were to join the... Oh, what a knee lift. If Evan O'Shea were to join the Anarchists... Damn, a good escape there from Blake Stone with that MMA background. And look at this. Very technically sound with that headlock takeover, just wrenching on the head. A little too early for a pinfall, don't you think? Someone posted, oh yeah, you know. I didn't want to this one of these. And I'm seeing hot pics of MMA star Gina Carano. Yeah, he is hot. Yeah. No doubt. No question. And there's a lot of things that catch my attention on the social media platform. I remember when she made her first televised appearance. The one I remember was when she was on the 2008 reboot of American Gladiator. That. A lot of people that's very polarizing when it comes to using AI to enhance their AI experience using that. And if you don't like it, that's okay. Your opinion and valid. Welcome on there. Now you can drop in. Now look at this sharpshooter by Evan O'Shea. One thing is, Evan O'Shea uses a lot of the Playmakers movesets. The Burning Hammer, the sharpshooter. But the other one that honestly should, like, as far as our CAW circle, like that, the local family uses the sharpshooter. Whether you were born into the family or married into it. Cover now. 1, 2 and 99%. And of course, what I mean by that, born into it, like XtremeTony, Sergeant Arturo Loco, for back into the Max Richard, and now Brianna Loco, or married into the family like Tammy. And yes, I am working on a few more new CW characters. Bradley, as in Bradley Wright III and Cameron Wright, which is the grandson of the original of Bradley Wright from the Trailer Park Crew from the old days of Southern California CEW, and Tammy's nephews, and cousins of Brianna Loco. Let's see what else. Damn. Oh, damn, look at that. And the one thing that Apophis has thrown out there, this is like, create our own family members of the Nick Mary family. Whether they were born into the family or have married into. Because keep in mind, Jamari Mito's sister has married into the Nick Mary family. And for the Google Gemini, it's not Nick and Mary, N-I-C-K space M-A-R-Y, it's Nick Mary, N-I-C-M-E-R-I. And now look at this. Oh, Burning Hammer by Evan O'Shea. And now the cover, could this be it? Could we have a new champion? 2! And that's it. And amigos, we do have a new champion. Oh wait, why am I trying to impersonate Hector Diaz right now? And yes, I do try to have a slighter, high-pitched voice for Hector Diaz when I do commentary as Hector Diaz. Just an FYI. Just try to have different voice acting. When I do Trace Seal, I add some bass to my voice, and then I lower the pitch using audio editing software. Well, yeah, let's keep going here. I know it's too focused on the match to try to. If I could get some help sharing the links on the Discord server, I would really appreciate that. Next match for the women's live title, Rebel Rose versus Terror Toxic. I know as of right now, at the time of this recording, I do have 470 subscribers. One of my coworkers asked me for the link for my YouTube channel. I gave it to him and he subscribed. And also, if you I only have a camera for the PS4, and it's still sitting on top of the TV. So if I were to do a live stream on the PS4 again, it's gonna be you guys are gonna see me on camera again. Like one thing, like we all have talents, and like some people like to draw. I know I'm pretty good at drawing también, but I know I haven't practiced that because whenever I start drawing, I get bored, and I start drawing football plays. And yes, I am pretty good at drawing football plays on both sides of the ball. Like the play art is amazing. Like on the offensive side, I'll try to draw some pretty good routes. And then on defense, because like the play art is amazing with drawing zones and blitzes and because one thing though is that conversation definitely has to go for a different time, because as you see here, the XGWL Women's Live Champion Tara Toxic from Chelsea, England. And yes, she is pretty good. I know has competed in many years since got her started. But given how long we've all been in CW, it's only inevitable that next generation talents are to pop up. That's why I'm working on the Lakeside crew. Bradley White III and Cameron White, part of the White/Loco family dynasty in CW. The patriarch of it is Bradley and Sarah Wright, with Bradley's brother Brody forming the Trailer Park Crew. And of course, Bradley and Sarah's daughter Tammy and son Bradley Jr. that never took part in wrestling. And yes, welcome Sherman. As I'm explaining the right WRIGHT family tree. And then Bradley Jr. and wife not named have two sons. Bradley III and Cameron formed the Lakeside crew. And for those who are unaware where Lakeside, California is, it's just like if you're in the city of San Diego, and then you go east, and then you on Interstate 8, and then you go north on California State Route 67, and then where the freeway part of State Route 67 ends, that's Lakeside. There's a rodeo, there's a high school, and then on a certain road leads to a casino. And now look at this, Terra Toxic. Look at, oh my god, that helicopter spin onto Rebel Rose. Man, I'm disappointed that El Toro Extreme wasn't out here. If anything, he should be, because the anarchists definitely do not come alone. This is either a test for Rebel Rose or an error in judgment in the anarchists, either or. As referee Juan Lopez up to a 7, now 8 count, and now Rebel Rose back in the ring. I honestly think Rebel Rose looks better with sort of red hair, or maybe her natural brunette hair with some red highlights, but that's just me though. Oh, that's it. As Terra Toxic has been the aggressor, the champion. As the crowd here is 100% behind Terra Toxic. And I definitely need to keep showing the lanes. The only two in the chat have, both in the live chat, has been Ahmed and then and Only on Fighter, known as Sherman, in the community of CEW. rather our CW community, the ones that I have been a part of with a lot of others. And so many have come and gone. And now referee Farm levels up to a 4 count. And for all of you in CW, just keep in mind, you guys are like my brothers. And I mean that. But you don't always see that eye to eye about the end of the day. I know you guys talk about that. And now, Toxic shoots the half, goes to the cover. 1! See what Rebel Rose is planning on doing here. And now look at, what a flying clothesline that was. Now Rebel Rose is pumped up. And one thing about the Anarchists is that they had a bit of a shock when Sherman Sampson left the group. But they started to rebuild themselves since El Toro Extremo decided to become the new leader of the group. And goddamn, that twist of hate. And the thorn of anarchy. I think that would be a good name for Rebel Rose's finishing maneuver. But I know in Over Aggression Championship Wrestling, her and Jesse Sativa are, I think they're known, to my knowledge, known as the Iron Maidens of Anarchy. And now it's Rebel Rose brings Toxic back in the ring. Probably smacked as she enters the ring. And now look at this. Sharpshooter. And voluntarily relinquishes the hold. And the one moniker I've given to Rebel Rose is the Lady Anarchist, and now 2 count. Ginger Ale. Yeah, she's definitely one of my favorites to watch over in your collection of CEW leagues, whether it's Aggression Championship Wrestling, Banshee Zone Wrestling, PlayStation Wrestling, Southern California Wrestling Alliance, or Elegant Wrestling League. Because I know I'm guilty of running multiple leagues myself with XGWL, their developmental, and WCDL, and a league from the past in Southern California CEW that ran from 87 to 2006, and now Rebel Rose go over the sharpshooter again, and just really cinching in. Terror Toxic tapping out. And the Anarchists may have lost a championship, but they've gained a different one. This one's the women's live title, and Rebel Rose wins this one. Man. Like, you definitely have to question the methods of El Toro Extremo sometimes. But it seems like he may have a point. Rosalind Nightfall. But one thing is, we definitely have to either find a way to post the family trees out there of our wrestling dynasties that we have, whether it's a mini dynasty or a large one. And the next match, as the Snakes of Chaos face on Los Hermanos. I have an idea. Without the trouser snake. Yeah, because one thing is, Apophis is going to be in action later on in a triple threat, or a fatal four-way that also includes Sherman Sampson, Jamari Mito, and JC Wolf. Our semi-main event, Sarah Warfield versus Ravi in a submission match, and our main event, a triple threat match between Danny Jackpot, Trey Steele, and El Noveno. Like, what plans do the Anarchists have to live up to the name of their show named after them? Kind of like a certain other promotion that ran Ruckshaw throughout the 90s, that competed with the Big Fred and Stanford down in the South with their wrestling. Because it's always going to be an XGWL versus the Anarchist World Tour. Or XGWL versus the Anarchist Revenge. And you see there the playmaker XtremeTony and his brother Sergeant Arturo Loco. And you see the playmaker bringing back his early 2010s ring attire, like the same ring attire he wore when he reached the pinnacle of CEW, when he that night in January 2013, winning both the title versus title, winner takes all, where he became double champion, being both the CCL national and world champion. Of course, a clip from that is part of my best motivational video I've created when I came back full time to CEW after taking a quiet hiatus. It's like, surprised to see me? Well, you shouldn't, as I've been on the sidelines for far too long, or I've let my emotions get the best of me. But all that's going to change, because obviously I came here to do two things. One is to chew bubblegum, and the next one is to kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Of course, given that my comeback will be a classic, because I have a sick vendetta, and I will return. And now tagging in his brother. And yes, I do have a brother named Arturo, and yes, we are a year apart, and there's a few key differences between between us. It's like the three differences between us is like I'm a year older, I'm an inch taller, and I'm usually the heavier, and I'm the heavier of the two. It's been that way our whole lives. Now look at it. Oh! A little out of range there. That may have cost him. That's the Death Snake. Look at this. No. The Red Snake coming back in. And now there's the playmaker. Oh, nicely done with that straight jacket neck breaker. Pulling out all the classics. One thing I found out on YouTube, there is a karaoke version of the Playmaker's theme song. You know, the classic with DJ Premier that has Nas, Rakim, and KRS-One on it. I'm just glad they took out the Kanye West part of that one. And now look at this. A certain commentator from the Big Fan Stamper will say vintage XtremeTony after that one. Now look at this. Oh, Charger Sweetway. As we're seeing more vintage XtremeTony. Yes, I did update the logo a bit to modernize it a little bit. And now the cover. And the save by the Death Snake. That's Sarge getting. Ooh, nice jumping kick that was. And look at the size disparity here. A true David versus Goliath moment. We have the 6'10", near 300-pounder in the Red Snake versus the 5'7", barely 200-pound Sergeant Arturo Loco. Oh, goddamn, what a move by the Death Snake. Cover now. Ooh, kick out. Look at this. What's going to happen here? Oh, goddamn. Looked like it cost 2 moves. Oh. Sergeant Arturo Loco going to put things away here. Try to look for the Air Force face butt with a counter. And now the tag. Let's see what these two behemoths are going to do here. They keep us missing for long enough. And now the tag to the playmaker. And now look at this. Good teamwork by Los Hermanos. Definitely not the same as Team 619, but that sweet network with our playmakers. midsection. Now look at this. Oh, plancha. That's what he's gotta do. Keep the offense. Because when it comes to the original talent from EWL, you have to update them to look like they're modern, to look like they would now current day. Because on the main account, I do have the original Trailer Park Crew current day with Tammy's dad having all gray hairs and now the Playmaker look for the Padre Popper. That's gotta be it. And now the cover. Come on, bring it. I do draw a lot of inspiration from my virtual counterparts. Because as Google Gemini, like, how well does my CW counterpart look like me? And for the most part, it looks pretty close, except for the body. It is a more idealized version of me. Now look at this. Chargers suplex. I gotta find ways to lose some weight and have my body type more like my virtual counterpart. Look at this. Padre Popper. And now cover one and only. Death Snake. Keeping dominance. Now the tag to the Red Snake. Not even a 1 count on that one. Because even though the Playmaker's pretty heavy himself, there's still a big size difference here, as the Playmaker is giving up 11 inches in height. God damn it, the Red Snake stepped out of the way of that attack. And face first in the wins play. Sourcing Arturo Loco, taking the fight to his much larger opponent. And now look at this, trips him up. And now going for the sharpshooter. And Red Snake tapping out. As we go through the highlights in this one, I wish the highlights would go with every match, even the ones that were in spectator mode. Why only the matches that I play? One thing is they do rectify that in 2k24. Alright, let's get the next match going. It would be interesting to see how well has the Eric Blackwell has aged since his days in both Southern California CW and EWL. Alright, let's get the next match going. Triple threat tag team match. Wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, these matches. My fighting is fit. My discipline is unforgiving. Have you back in the defensive position. An ass kicking anthem. You're missing the point. We dominate your confidence. Often, that's no nonsense. Just don't get your reinforcements. Alright, let's get. So many times I've displayed my rap skills. Let's see the Beehive, Obsidian, Kendall Lewis. Let's deal with these. It's triple threat tornado tag. So it's 3 teams going at it here. What would I do if I always ask myself that a million times. You see that the XGWL Women's Tag Team Champions, Lisa Vasquez and Ruby Carter, the Cuban hottie and Lisa Carter. I know someone has called her, quote unquote, the other one. Because there is a woman in the Big Fat in Stanford that's very similar to Lisa Vasquez. Well, one thing, you do have to take it to Vice City, as in Lola Vice. I mean, the similarities are so striking. And of course, it is complete coincidence that sooner or later, that a wrestler in the real world would be very similar to Lisa Vasquez. As in, the similarities are this, like, they're both Cuban American, they're both from Miami, and they both have MMA backgrounds. The only difference is that I'm the one that created Lisa Vasquez. their first set of opponents. The team of Obsidian and Kendall Lewis is like, won't be a good team name for these two. I know for a lot of teams, I don't have a lot of good name suggestions. You may have to ask Lucky 7 though. So you have another MMA fighter, another fighter with an MMA background in Obsidian. And one thing is that the trend of a lot of former MMA fighters have made the transition to pro wrestling. Like the aforementioned Lola Vice. And then also a certain Broski who like to smoke a lot of pot. And when I mean Broski, I didn't mean Matt Cardona. I did mean a certain Matt Riddle. Oh, my back. Yeah, here comes the team of Obsidian and, Jade Kim and Nikki Cornetto. One thing I'm trying to figure out, because I know I've given them so many different entrances throughout the years, but I haven't found one that really stuck. It's like I'm trying different tag team entrances with these two. Because one thing is, like, they are a successful tag team, winning the women's tag team championship. Both of them have won the XGWL Women's World Championships in the past in different parts of XGWL's timeline. match is nothing but chaos. One thing that makes the live stream go is the live chat, and then a nice touch will be in the comment section afterwards. Now look at this. Ooh, nice takedown by Jade Kim onto her former tag team partner. As Jade Kim and Ruby Carter once teamed up, known collectively as the Fiery Jewels. Oh, look at that counter by Jade Kim. So there's a lot of history here between a lot of these teams. Because you had Kendall Lewis, you had Jade Kim partook in the Queens of Wrestling qualifying matches. Look at that. Ooh, nice code breaker cover. 1, 2 count. Fun episode of WCDL Spring Breakout. So I was going to call the series of premium event WCDL Showdown, and then the subtitle. That's like a certain big fan of Stanford's developmentally what they call their premium events takeovers. What do I remember watching on TV is they had some WWE produced wrestling show on there. Ooh. And with all these multi-person matches, no disqualifications, no countouts. Only way to win is a decision in the ring. And for submission. That's the only two ways to win this one. And now look at this Jade Kim about to stand for a bulldog, and Lisa Vasquez with the counter. The Cuban hottie. Well, she has a tattoo of the Cuban flag on her back next to her shoulder. Now Obsidian focusing on Nikki Cornett. Kendall Lewis with the seal chair on the Ruby Carter outside. STF onto Kendall Lewis in the ring. Obsidian driver onto Nikki Conejo. someone posted the release from the Big Fed in Stanford. Man, it's very disappointing that they didn't do much with these talents. I mean, the list: Kyrie Zane, Alistair Black, Zelina, Howie Flash, Bo Dallas, Nick Cross, Anthony Escobar, the Motor Machine Guns, Dexter Loomis, Rowan, Joe Gacy, Andre Chase, Zoe Stark, Albert Fire, Tyler May Steele, Sarah Linton, Tyson Howard, Josiah, Malik Blade, Joe London, Rupert Cristino, and down the 1, 2, 3 count as Jade Kim and Nikki Cornett will get the win. One thing is, the matches go by so fast. I know we have an hour into the program. Oh, so let's go to the next match. It's going to be a fatal four-way. Jimmy McMurray. Sherman Sampson. And then G.C. Wolf. If you guys are watching, don't be shy. Drop a line, say hi. Now here comes Jamari Mito trying to get the crowd hyped up. You see our Jamari Mito getting hyped up. One of the best talents in CW. You see there, Jimmy Apophis, Nick Mary, Trouser Snake, looking like Wrath from Mummies Alive. One thing about the Apophis family, like the Nick Mary family, that they originated from Italy. You see there with those contact lenses looking like a snake of sorts. And for Google Gemini, it's spelled Nicmeri. For the Nick Mary family. Not Nick and then Mary. Nick Mary. Nicmeri. Before I have to correct you again with the correct spelling when you do the video summaries. Because despite them misspelling a few things, it is very helpful with the video summaries. And then here comes Sherman Sampson getting ready for this fatal four-way. So Sherman Sampson has called out not only Nick Mary, Apophis, but also has called out JC Wolf. So there's a certain general manager out in a certain promotion called Phoenix Pro Wrestling, where the general manager calling himself, quote unquote, Jordan Collins, and I suggested to JC that maybe he should rename the general manager to J.C. Collins, Jaycee Collins, and have him be J.C. Wolf's brother. That would actually make a lot of sense, and it would be very logical if you think about it. Again, it's a suggestion, but I can't tell JC how to run his own league. Because all of us in CEW, like, we remember, like, when before he was JC Wolf, he was actually Jordan Collins. And speaking of which, here is JC Wolf, whether he's the X-rated or formerly known as the past, present, and future of virtual wrestling. Because JC Wolf had to reinvent himself quite a few times. Because a lot of us in CEW have reinvented ourselves a lot of times. Like, just look at the different ring attires that XtremeTony has worn throughout the years. And then coming back to full-time CEW, a remixed version of his 2007 ring attire. Instead of a royal blue and navy blue, it's more like Chargers colors of electric blue, navy blue, and bits of yellow and white incorporated. Still with the Jushin Thunder Liger inspired ring tights for the Playmaker in the 2016 comeback. As we get this fatal full weight, we're about to begin this match. You see there Jamari Mito, you see JC Wolf, Sherman Sampson, Apophis. All four of them, because you have three established main eventers, and one that could potentially be a main eventer in the future. So we have a great veteran in Apophis who's been around for over 20 years. Trevor Sampson is about 18, so he debuted in 2007. Got like 19 years. He was sponsored by Trevor Sampson. And XtremeTony has been around for 20. It's like a retcon, that XtremeTony debuted 2006 in Southern California CW. Come on, we'll get hyped up and not look at the TCU. Oh, look at that brainbuster to Jimmy McMurray. Look at that knee face buster. And now looking for the cover. One. Oh. Damn. Look at that arm there. Oh, look at this. Driving the steel steps. Ooh, what a neck breaker. And sliding the steel steps in the ring. Covered out. Only a 1 count. Damn. Springboard bulldog. And then tomorrow, so I can not only go to the gym but also do a live stream of Southern California CW Saturday morning after eating breakfast. Because for those who remember that there's been a lot of times where pro wrestling was on TV on Saturday mornings. I would definitely remember, whether it was WWF Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, whatever the case may be, cover. WWF having recaps from WWF Live Wire from Wrestling Challenge. That was never on the TV I remember. I remember it was Raw. Ooh. I got a cover because I remember first watching wrestling during the new generation era. I know I've said this many times, but just how long I've been a wrestling fan for more than 30 years. Hopeless. Grabbing, going outside the ring, grabbing another weapon, another toy to play with. And now Nick Marion, AC Wolf in the ring, squeaking it out. So there may be a temporary alliance this year, but it is every man for himself in this one. Because I could have very easily made this a NATO tag hardcore rules match. Could have had Silver Sampson and Marty Neal team up against DC Wolf in a focus cover only 1 count. But let me do a clear for you this time. I go for that super kick with focus counters. Like, given how often these two apply against each other, like these two know each other very well. This guy really dropped connect. And now, going for the cover. 1, 2. 2. Definitely is certified to a 99%. I know in the 90s they were still a bit cartoonish at times. DDT there by JC Wolf only gets a 2 count. That pinfall effect. And now look at a sleeper hold. Another MMA background that is similar to the counter by Approaches. And now JC with his whole sentence and starting to fight here. And now Nick Mary. Oh, hits that little drop of Giovanni Mito. Cover the medal. JC will emerge victorious. So I have a pretty good idea for this one. Submission match between Sarah Warfield and the XGWL Women's World Champion, Ravi. I made it in time. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, check out friends out. With that being said, this is your homeboy XtremeTony. Thank you for watching. Como siempre, adiós.